that gets good.
All right, I'm going to back up. Okay, so there we are. Now you can start. Go to the second one.
Okay, well, I'd like to invite everybody, excuse me, I'd like to welcome everybody to our District 5010 Virtual Awards. To my knowledge, we've never done awards this way, so this is kind of an experiment. But I felt it was really important that we give recognition to all of the people that made me hold true to my promises to the members of the district. And I just had some tremendous amount of volunteers step forward and say if there's anything I can do to help. So that was really reassuring. On a serious note, go ahead and go down the next one there, Rosie. The one below that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to break this into a couple of categories. We're going to start with the gavel because there may be people that have to leave the meeting early and we didn't want to miss that. So we'll be looking at district leadership, and we'll also be looking at service and leadership together. We've got a couple of certificates that we'll show you that we're going to see.
I'm attending the meeting too.
And somebody's on their telephone and we can hear you talking. So go ahead to the next slide there, Rosie. Okay, so that was my picture about last early May, getting the gavel from Diane with my wife, Sherry. And we were thinking, how are we going to get that gavel down to Joe? And thanks to Craig Bledsoe, I met him in Wasilla and he grabbed the paddle and the gavel. And then he arranged through some network that he had in the Kenai Peninsula to get it down to Soldotna. And then we got it delivered to Joe. So Joe got the message, apparently I didn't, that we could dress down tonight. So anyhow, we've done the gavel pass and it's official that Joe is going to carry forth on July 1 as our new district governor. Okay, go to the next slide if we could.
You took that wrong.
So we're going to take a look first at district leadership, and we're going to start with the, I think it's the clubs, right, Rosie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to mute people.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're gonna look at the DG line. For those that are new to a district conference or district awards, I wanted you to know that the four in the district governor line work very closely together. Joe Cashai will follow me starting July 1st. A year later, Cheryl Mativa will follow him, and a year later, Mike Ferris will follow Cheryl. And it's really important that the four of us work together so that we don't each reinvent the wheel every year. So, but we also want to have opportunity to put our own, I guess, print on what we want to see accomplished and make it consistent with the district strategic plan. I've gotten to know Joe and Cheryl and Mike very well, and I really look forward to continuing to support their efforts in the coming year. And Joe's got some ideas that he's going to do that are a little different than me. And I think that's the diversity that makes us have a really rich district. So thank you, Joe. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Michael Ferris, for being a part of the governor line. Go ahead there, Rosie. So I just wanted to also recognize Rosie. One of the first decisions that I made was to have a district governor who I had worked with.
Sorry, Russell Crowe.
Harry started this tradition of having a lieutenant governor, and Diane had Lamar for her year, and Harry had Lamar for his year. And I like Lamar a lot, and he's always been a really reliable Rotarian. But I also wanted to work with somebody who I had worked with in the past, and I think I made the right decision. Rosie has exceeded my expectations this year. The things that she's been involved in, besides the fact that she's a zone assistant public image coordinator, she's also worked very closely with me on the rollout of our new mobile app. She's been taking largely responsibility for keeping our Facebook page up to date. And when I didn't have anybody to work with Club Runner, she and Janine both stepped forward and said anything we can do to help, and that's been appreciated. Rosie serves her club as a youth exchange officer. She is been a longtime supporter of the Interact Club that we'll talk about towards the end of our meeting. And her pictures are legendary. She captures the spirit of every Rotary event. And whether it be pets, whether it be our district conference, our leadership meeting, there's almost an archive of the fun that people have. She's got a real eye for that. So I just want to thank Rosie for her enthusiasm and her multiple capabilities and being my lieutenant governor. And I think Joe's very fortunate that she's agreed to stay on for his year as well. Okay, go on to the next one. So Rosie insisted that they put this picture in here, and I'm not sure why they were pointing at me. Rosie, do you know why they were pointing at me?
Well, we wanted to have a picture so we could remember who you were.
Oh, I see. Okay. So anyhow, that was a fun picture, and I didn't realize a year later that it would be so prominent in an award ceremony presentation, but I do love that picture with all of us in our team shirts. That was a big deal to me. I wanted to do something fun. The team shirts kind of were a different approach, and people wear them with pride. We've got them from Whitehorse, Canada, to Ketchikan, to Anchorage, down the peninsula, and a lot of people bought them. And Joe, you might want to think about doing something similar. Okay, next slide. So this is the award that folks will be receiving. One of two awards. One is called a leadership award, but it's really about leadership and service. And the other one we're calling a distinguished leader award. And it's primarily for those folks that have been in a leadership role that's been a significant contribution of time and whatnot. A lot of our volunteers don't have to put in much time, but when we need it, they're valuable. And we have other leaders. I'm going to talk about Dean McVeigh shortly, who put in so much time, and they have to draw upon their vocation. They have to draw upon their skills. And it is so beneficial when we have people who have distinguished leadership in that role. So I'll talk about that too. So we will have these mailed to everybody. I don't know when they'll go out, but Lisa Phillips is our awards chair, and she and Rosie have helped me get this pulled together for tonight. Okay, go ahead. So we're going to recognize clubs, and the reason I have the clubs first here is that the club leadership, that's where Rotary happens. And I remember meeting this crew for the first time in February of 2018 and working with them again at the district training assembly in Anchorage. And we've really got some special people that are taking the reins of our clubs. So usually I put out emails and I start with Fairbanks and Anchorage and then work my way down, and Southeast gets to go last. So I thought I'd flip it and have it go first here. Sharon Bergman was a first-year AG this year. She worked real closely with Rosie the year before, and the AG's role is to support me by being the point of contact and the eyes and ears for the governor. So she did a lot of the arrangements and the follow-up to make sure that all my club visits went smoothly. And she traveled and was able to be at not only Ketchikan, but Petersburg and Juneau for club meetings. And of course, she lives in Sitka. Joe Kaikala and Juneau there, I really remember visiting their club and going to the Glory Hole and serving breakfast to people who were less fortunate there. 58 Innovators, I helped with a service project that they did, and it was putting gravel around the outside of the animal shelter there in Juneau. And then Russ Bazard and the Rotaractors were getting ready for a Halloween event, and that was a lot of fun meeting them. I talked to them for a short period of time, and just it's our largest Rotaract club in the district right now. Julie Olson with Juneau Gastineau was just very gracious to take us around to the museum and some other places there in Juneau, and I got to see a couple of their service projects. Dan Dawson, my gosh, Juneau Glacier Valley does so much in Juneau, and we got to visit their park and learn the whole history of that. And all the clubs in Juneau built a new, it's not a gazebo, but it's kind of a heavy log structure just off the highway going out to Auk Bay. Just beautiful, and all of them worked together on that. Stuart White was with Ketchikan 2000, and he did a nice interview of me while I was there on their radio station. Similarly, Margaret Custer had one of their club members show us all around a number of the club projects and clear out the highway. And just some of the golden hammers is one of the things I really remember about the Ketchikan Club, because they've got a crew that when they get to work doing something for the community, they're very well organized and they take a lot of pride in their work. And a lot of those projects reflect that. In Petersburg, we got to see things in Petersburg. Harry's project, Rotary Cares for Kids, that he started, we were able to deliver some backpacks and blankets and things, some duffel bags to the kids. There was a family who was struggling with a couple of kids who were disabled, and they were with their grandmother, and they were building a fence. The club was building a fence there. And Petersburg not only had that project that they'd worked on, but they worked with the entire community to get donations to support building this fence, which was more of a safety feature for one of the children there. They also have a beautiful park and plans to build a new playground. And Petersburg is a very vibrant club and really takes a leadership role in youth exchange for Southeast as well. Shauna Thornton there in Sitka, she and Sharon and John Whitekamp were there when we had the Alaska Day parade, and Sharon said it never rains on the Alaska Day, and sure enough it didn't rain. So we marched in the parade and we got to see their projects, and they talked about their duck race. When I was in Ketchikan, I participated in the duck race and the parade. My duck didn't win, but what a community turnout. So all of our clubs in Southeast are vibrant and great commitment by their club officers and their president. So let's go on to the next one. So in the Kenai Peninsula area, Lori Draper is in her second year as our assistant governor. And Lori just loves Rotary. The pride that she has put into Seward as a community goes beyond Rotary. She's been the one that's organized the Mount Marathon race for a number of years. And when they had a membership drive a couple of years back during Harry's year, I recall that they brought in like 15 new members after they did a membership mixer, and that kind of set in motion a lot of clubs wanting to try doing membership mixers to entice potential members to come visit their club. So she's just real gung-ho, and she's taken that spirit and she's showing it and sharing it with all of the clubs on the peninsula. Homer Downtown, when we were there, we were only able to meet with 2 people in the club, and they're going to be now the satellite club of the E-Club of District 5010. So I wish them great success being a satellite club, and I know that E-Club will look after them and help them. Homer Kachemak Bay, Don Keller, what a fantastic time your club showed me. They had a nice social for me, was able to visit some of the projects, and Don was our chauffeur for the 3 days that I was there. And his club members, just really nice people. And every time I go to Homer, I know I'm going to try to land on a day that they meet as a club. They've got a successful health fair that they continue to put on, and just a great job you've done down there, Don. In Kenai, Chris Edgar was right in the throes of the big fire that they had on the peninsula this summer, but he was there when I did my club visit, and real enthusiastic guy. And I think that there's good things that can happen in Kenai. They've got some really strong members, but they're small. Kathy Heindel, kind of the same thing. Kenai River has a really dedicated group of about 8 to 10 members. They were planting some little spruce saplings along the river in a campground there. And so they've got a lot of good ideas, and they've got someone on the club that makes signs. So I think there's a potential there for public image for one of their members to help the district considerably. I had a great time when I went to Kodiak. I want to thank Richard Lance and Trent Dodson and Lindsay Knight for putting together just a fantastic visit. They even had the weather planned. It was about 85 degrees when we were there. And we went out to the spaceport and spent an entire day out there. And Lindsay serves on the space, I don't know what the title of it is, but it's the group that kind of advises from the community. And Lindsay's very knowledgeable about that, but enthusiastic as well. Richard gave us a tour of the islands around the area, and we were able to go on a boat ride that they arranged for me. And then Trent Dunson, the day that we left, took us out to the fish hatchery that he's in charge of. Vibrant clubs, I think that they struggle because of their size. One club's small and got a lot of money, and the other club's larger but doesn't have a lot of money. If there was a way they could work together and combine that, I think that they could get an awful lot done. But the clubs for right now want to remain separate, and I hope that they continue to thrive. The Seward Club, when I went there, it was a date that had to be changed because I tied it in with a barrow trip, and I was only able to spend one day. I got in on an afternoon, and I met that evening, and I did my presentation the next day and had to leave right afterwards. And it was absolutely raining cats and dogs. But Seward board meeting was one of the best board meetings I've attended. They have a lot of young members with good ideas. And after the board meeting, Nicole, is that her name, Nicole? Do I have the wrong name there? Rosie?
That's right.
Oh, it is right. Okay, I don't know why that just drew a blank. Anyhow, Nicole took me out where they do their duck race, and imagine a waterfall coming down from about Mount Marathon height and just shooting out across the highway, and that's how their ducks arrive. I don't know how they collect all the ducks, but the day I was there, it was just a huge torrential downpour. But they have a nice lagoon with a little gazebo and a parkway or a walkway all the way around it. And that's one of the major projects there in Seward. Soldotna Club. Laura McGinnis with the Soldotna Club arranged for me to have housing at a resort that she works at. And I had a great time there getting to know Laura. And the Soldotna Club took me out to see a bathroom facility that they put downtown for the trails that they have nearby. They have a dog park that's just cool. If you get a chance to see their dog park, really a creative way that they've put that together. And I think that the artwork that's the Soldotna Club, and Joe could tell you a little more about that, but and I know he will. But the artwork that they've got there in that park right downtown in Soldotna is just wonderful and a really great project for the community. So congratulations to all of our club presidents there in the Peninsula region. And thank you, Lori, as well. Okay, next one. So the Mat-Su region, I was able to visit Eagle River in July. I think it was around, I'm sorry, it was August. No, it was July, about the 14th of July. And I was able to go to their duck race, which is very different than the one that I saw in Seward and Ketchikan, but it works for them. And what a community turnout. And they had this big event that the whole community comes out, and they have a parade and food booths, and it's just a big fundraiser and a lot of fun, a lot of ticket sales, a lot of excitement. And when they drew those tickets after releasing the ducks, they land in a little, like a plastic swimming pool, and they dip them out, in which it's kind of a unique way of drawing the winners. But very successful for them, and the Eagle River Club deserves a lot of praise for the time that they put into that. And I met a lot of their members when I visited their duck race. I also came back, I think it was in the November timeframe, and I was able to meet with their club. And they had a wonderful youth exchange student there from Italy that I got to talk with, and just really a nice job that they're doing with youth exchange there for some time. Joseph Davis, today I visited the Palmer Club, and one of the things I was able to do was give a Paul Harris Fellow to Dr. Ann Zink, who's the chief medical person for the state that's been kind of in charge of this whole coronavirus effort statewide. She was tickled to death to get the recognition, and the Palmer Club was thrilled to be able to recognize one of their own. And she did some question and answer afterwards. And the Palmer Club is very engaging. We've got some real strong members there, like Lamar and Brenda, and we've got Jeff Johnson and so many longtime Rotarians like Joseph that really add a lot to the club there in Palmer. Lanissa Grogan, the Susitna Club is just thriving. The thing that stands out to me the most for the Susitna Club is their newsletter, Josh the Otter, and all of the projects that they take on as a club. But they also do a great Rotary education program for their members. And I think that it's been valuable having Kim Erickson on our education and training committee, because she's somebody that has already shown that you can educate your members and have them become better and more committed Rotarians. So congratulations to them. Wasilla Noon, Alexa Wolf, the president, is going to be moving at the end of this year. One thing I learned about the Wasilla Noon Club is they raise over $100,000, and they donate about a third of that $100,000 to the local youth. It's not a youth shelter as much as it is a place where youth can learn job skills. They have a little boutique there, and they can drop in and they can receive personal care items. And it's just, they help them with getting connected with services and stuff. What a great project, what a great partnership. And I'm sorry, but the name of it, I'm kind of blank on the name of it, but it's been a long time project.
Called My House.
My House, yes, thank you. Wasilla Noon just doing a great job there. And finally, Wasilla Sunrise, wow, what a vibrant club they are. They do a lot of club projects. They do domestic violence program, awareness program in the community. They've got a beautiful park that they built in an area that's got some less fortunate people. And I think they've got a grand vision for how they want to improve the park. Their president-elect that was lined up for this next year is going to have to take a year off, but I don't think they're going to miss a step. Jason Marvel's really positioned them well to continue with a lot of the projects that they do. We've got real strong support there for youth exchange as well. So congratulations to Brenda Sheldon for your work with the clubs there and all of the clubs in the Mat-Su Valley. And of course, we've got 8 clubs to recognize here in the Anchorage region. Mike Bridges, I want to just give you a big shout out and thank you for the 3 years that you've given as assistant governor. You know, Mike's kind of a quiet spoken guy, but when he has something to say, he can be pretty direct. And I've learned to really respect Mike. There's been a number of times I've been invited to participate in an event at a club in Anchorage, and if I can't attend because I live in Fairbanks, I'd pick up the phone, I'd call Mike. Mike was always happy to step in and represent the district. Mike also is one of the AGs that he would call me when he had a question during a meeting, and I could answer their question right then. And he always returned my calls promptly. And I found that if I needed something from any of the clubs, that Mike took the time to get right on it. And he's a busy guy. He's been all over the state with some bank projects, and yet he's been able to maintain that commitment to Rotary. So thank you, Mike Bridges, for what you do. Anchorage Club, when I did the club visit, I was really pleased to have 4 past district governors there. And it was there at the Denina Center. And I didn't get to visit any of the club projects while I was there, but I had intentions of going to their foundation fundraiser. And then because of the COVID-19, it got postponed. So I'm looking forward to participating that in the future when they put that on. But a strong club that's facing some challenges, like all clubs, of watching longtime members take a less active role in the club. And there's an opportunity to bring in new members, but their club is struggling with the same issues as small clubs are struggling with, is how do we stay connected with their members? How do we offer them something different that keeps them engaged and helps them be a committed member of the club? So I think he's done a real nice job this year, and he's been great to work with. Charlotte's Club, Anchorage East, had their 50th anniversary. So I attended that and did a club visit, I think, the week later. And I got to know the Anchorage East Club, and what a great club that they are. Didn't visit any of the projects, but in their board meeting, I heard about a lot of the things that they're working on. And I just want to congratulate Charlotte for having such a great team to work with there. Ron Fassett, I didn't really have much time to spend with Ron, but I did visit the Gateway Club, as I did the Anchorage Hillside Club, which is Mike Bridges' club. Anchorage International, I learned more about what they're doing from their posts on their Facebook page. It's pretty active, and they've got some really good fundraising projects. And I attended a board meeting, and it was one of the best attended board meetings that I went to. So congratulations on Anchorage International and Angie and the job that she's done this year. One of the first clubs I visited in Anchorage, which was Anchorage Midtown. When I was there, they inducted 4 new members, and they were a club of about 8 to 10 members at the time. So that bumped them up to about 11 or 12 members. So it shouldn't be Larry Larson, because it was John Sauve who was the president when I visited. Maybe Larry's going to be president this year, but Anchorage Midtown meets there at a Denny's restaurant or Village Cafe. I forget what the name of it is, right there in the Spenard area. Steven Schreiber's got a really interesting club, a lot of fun club, small club, but Steve's a lot of fun, and you could feel the energy in the club. And I just really got a sense that that was a club that, even though they're small, they're making an impact, and I just congratulate them. Bill Simpson, Anchorage South, you guys are doing some great stuff. Membership wise, I know that there was some controversy because of COVID and delivering what was it, tulips, I think, this year. And I think that the club tackled it in a very thoughtful way, and they tried to provide options for their members so that they could continue right in the middle of a pandemic, making good on their commitment to deliver these flowers to the people that have bought them. That fundraiser funds a lot of their projects. And Anchorage South, strong membership, a lot of young people in the club. And so congratulations to Bill on the nice job that he did there this year. And finally, Mike Bridges drove me out to Girdwood when we visited Cece and her club. And it was an evening meeting, and it was in kind of a nice cabin. I wouldn't really characterize it as a house. It looked like more of a winter cabin, but it was just beautiful. And when we drove down there, I was a little wondering about the weather, but it ended up working with us. So we didn't get out to see projects, but for the most part, that's a club that I think when they put their commitment to a project, they work really well together. And that's a club that I think I'd like to visit sometime, maybe in the summer. So let's go on to the next one. So finally, the northern region, the one I'm most familiar with. Bill Wright took over as our AG following the 3 years that Mike Pollan gave in that position. So Bill had a great mentor in Mike. There hardly skipped a beat from the transition from Mike's last meeting to Bill's first meeting. Bill learned a lot this year. The thing that's really excellent about Bill is just how talented he is. He's a great extemporaneous kind of a speaker. And when he does introductions, he doesn't even use a note, and he remembers almost everything when he does an introduction. He's funny. When he meets with Rotarians, he asks really thoughtful, deep questions. And I think he's really got a genuine and sincere interest in learning about clubs and what their strengths are and what their challenges are, and how he can help or the district can help. So I've been really pleased with the job that Bill did connecting with our club members. Jeff Seifert gave us a great time, as did Mike Jeffries when we visited Barrow Nuvik Club. And we got a complete tour of the utilidor and the water treatment plant there, and fascinating. It's second to the space station in terms of how much money they've spent on this thing. And the water there tastes very good. They've got some great projects that they've done over time, and both Bill and I had a great time when we were up there. Doug Schrage, of all the presidents this year, he's probably one of the funniest presidents. He's got a great sense of humor, but he's very competent at what he does, kind of disarming when he talks to you, but he can be serious when he has to be. But I watched him at a meeting, and he's just got such a nice style that his club really enjoyed having him be president this year. The Fairbanks Club takes on a lot of projects each year, and of course, ranging from, the Belize Project, which Mike and Wayne Clark have participated in with Peggy. That's a big project that they've got, and then they've got a lot of simple projects that make a big difference in the Fairbanks community. Fairbanks College Club, Tom Bunsen and their board. I thought we had a really good board meeting, and the club meeting was excellent. I also want to give a big shout out to Cheryl Keepers for her continued work in youth exchange for their club. Patty Merritt doing a great job with our Peace Fellow Committee. And Tom, as a president this year, I think led his club and worked closely with their board to improve it so that he could hand it off next year to their president-elect. Golden Heart Club, Melissa Osborne was their president this year, and they've made some good progress in the projects. Whoops, I lost the list there. Okay. They were our first club after the pandemic that started meeting face-to-face again. And they're a small club, but what's unique about them is they do a summer project, which is a running club. So they don't meet during the summer. They meet up at Birch Hill and they do this running program for kids, and it's been really well received, and their members contribute to that. Had a good visit to Nome when I was there. I want to thank Lou Tobin, longtime Rotarian, longtime Nome resident, was kind of our tour guide when we were there. He had a nice little dinner for us when we were there, took us the top of the mountain and took us out the road to the last Iditarod stop. And the projects that they have just out of town is a walkway going around kind of a pond area. So they did not have any other active projects going on at that time. And they're a small club that I think struggles. They have a group in town they call the 505s. And they're a group of people that meet after work that want to be Rotarians, but the Rotary Club meets at noon. And they've got to figure out a way to make the club options so that they can have both a noon meeting and an evening meeting, and they could increase their membership, almost doubling it. So that's a challenge that they face there. North Pole Club, I understand, has a president for this coming year, president-elect, and someone who served in that position before. So I think that they'll continue to make good progress this year. I didn't have much contact with Tasman this year. I did visit their club, and they have a small club of about 7 to 9 members at any given time. A lot of them are traveling and such. So E-Club, really a thriving club. I want to congratulate Ariel and her team, including her president-elect, Brian. What a vibrant group they are. And they've got members all over the world. And they've done great fundraisers, and they're very creative. And I want to thank Gail for her leadership in that club. Keeps them moving forward. And if you know of members that are leaving the state and they want to remain a member, I would encourage them to join the E-Club. And then finally, the Aurora Borealis Rotaract Club is really struggling right now. Emily Reist was their president this year. They had 3 members of the club who were going to be graduating or leaving Fairbanks, and there was some doubt about the 3 remaining members, whether they were going to be able to keep the club moving forward. So we'll continue to provide support and see if we can't see what we can do to support their future growth again. Okay, I think that's all the clubs, right, Rosie? Anything you want to add? Okay, let's go back up to our next one. Up, you're going down too far. There we go. Down, down, down. Okay, up, go back up one. Okay, so I did mention Dean McVeigh as our district treasurer. He's a member of Anchorage South Rotary Club. For the 3 years that he's been a district treasurer, that is a big job. I think that a lot of people don't understand just how much time and expertise that it takes to be a district treasurer. Dean has given us distinguished service during that time. One of the most important and time-consuming district positions, keeping up with the finances of the district, preparing for the monthly reviews. He reviews and takes care of all the check preparation with Janine for reimbursements, and he helps the district prepare for audits. He gets people paid That's probably the most important thing he does. He gets people paid. So I want to thank Dean, and I know that Dean's going to pass off things in good condition for George Elgie to take over on July 1. Dean, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the job that you've done the 3 years that I've known you. Let's go on to the next one. So I listed Janine Becca here. She's an honorary member as a Rotarian, but she is our district administrative secretary, and she's done that position since 2009. I think that a lot of people don't know what Janine does because she's very quiet in what she does, but she does it very well. And I think the most significant thing that she does is she keeps us straight with Rotary International. There's a lot of reports that have to be turned in, and there's a lot of preparation for those and keeping up to date. She has a really close working relationship with the treasurer. She also serves 2 other clubs, and maybe it's 3 in the Anchorage area as their admin secretary, and she attends all those meetings. She's our historian, she's our archivist, and she helps us plan for all of our meetings. So congratulations, Janine, and thank you for your continued service to the district. Don Polton has stepped up in a very big way. He's been our administration chair. He's from Eagle River Rotary, and he's also served as acting district secretary this year. And Don is meticulous. Don is somebody that's very precise, and when stuff needs to go out, he doesn't miss anything, and he wants to get it right. And I think a lot of people really appreciate that in Don, his ability to plan things. He's quite a problem solver, and he's just very valuable to the district. He's going to be the district secretary for Joe, as I understand it. Thank you very much. Next one. So we've got several major committee chairs, and Brad Gamble, after he finished his term as district governor, he took on the foundation. And as a past district governor, I'm looking forward to taking some time for myself and my wife. Brad just jumped right into it, and foundation is not an easy job, but he's done an excellent job. He's also got a keen interest in our grants program and the success of our grants program. And so I applaud him for pushing our grants committee. And I know that this next year as our grants chair, he's going to improve our grants committee and help them be applying for more grants, and maybe we'll get a few more global grants. So Brad, thank you for everything that you do for the foundation. We had a banner year for Polio Plus raising money about 148% over the prior year. I think we fell short, or have fallen short, for the foundation giving to the annual fund this year, and I attribute most of that to canceled foundation events and clubs not being able to meet. Hopefully we'll be able to have a strong year next year and pick that up, but it's not too late to make a donation to the foundation this year. So Brad, thank you for your significant contribution to time and interest. Lindsay Knight is wrapping up his 3rd year as our membership chair. He took over from me when I was membership chair. And little did I know when I chose him for that position that Mike Ferris is a good friend of his. And Mike Ferris is serving as a co-chair with Lindsay. I found out that they were from the same gym, and they'd been longtime friends, both from Kodiak. And we're really pleased that Mike's going to be our DGND. But Mike's got a breadth of talent when it comes to training. Certainly has an interest in membership, but he's been, for the past 2 years, one of our trainers at Pacific Northwest Pets, and as Mike Pollen as well. And I think that we're really fortunate to have somebody of Mike's talent continue to be somebody that's passionate about membership. Lindsay's thing, I think, that's important to note is he's enthusiastic. He's kind of a master at going up to people cold and saying, "You should be a Rotarian." And they go, "Oh yeah, what's that?" And before you know it, he's talked them into making a commitment to join Rotary. So people could learn from Lindsay's style. But I think that Lindsay may be continuing to work in membership here in the future. That'll be something that Joe will have to talk to you about, because I'm not really sure what he's got for plans there. Let's go on to public image. I mentioned Rosie's involved with public image. She has taken on the chair kind of by default this year. We had someone that we chose to replace Kelly Larson. That didn't seem to work out. And we had to have somebody kind of pull together because we wanted to implement this public image resource leaders. And so I turned to Rosie and said, could you and Michelle plan something of a training program for our public image resource leaders? And so we have one in each of the areas of the state, and we've got their names listed a little bit later. But Rosie has not been unwilling at all to take on any assignment when she sees that there's a need and somebody has to step in and get something done. And public image is her passion. I think that recently, if you looked at our Facebook page, you've seen a lot of graphics that she's done in Canva. And I just think that keeping up our Facebook and all the other things that she's done for public image, training is her passion. I think that's her real passion, is sharing what she knows, training others so that they can be effective in that role at the club level. So thank you, Rosie, for your contribution there. I just want to mention that Harry Keeling has been the chair of our finance committee. And in that role, he chairs the meetings and he keeps the meetings moving along. He's got a really nice style and he's very efficient. And our club, or our committee has done a really excellent job. Some of the others that share on that committee are Joe and Diane and Cheryl and myself, Gail. Gosh, who am I missing there? I'm missing one, but I can't remember who it is. I think I might have them listed later here. Okay, let's go on down. Thank you, Harry, for being our finance committee chair. Finally, district trainer. Hold on, okay. Joe Kukley is in her second year as district trainer. She's a member of the Fairbanks Rotary Club. When I asked Joe to take on the job of district trainer, I knew that she had a sabbatical for the first half of the year, but I chose her anyhow because I know her capabilities. She's smart, she's funny, she's fun, and all of those things I think make her an excellent trainer. She's very well organized. You can tell her what you want to do and she gets it and she picks it up and she's going to do it in a very efficient manner. If you talk to Joe, you will learn that she's all in favor of brevity. So she's probably tearing out her hair right now while I'm talking. But it is an important quality that Joe has about keeping things simple. And that's another thing that I like about her. So thank you, Joe. Okay, next slide. I want to talk about the district conference that never happened. We had this fantastic team for the district conference. And after about 6 months of trying to entice people to take on the role of chair of the district conference, I talked to Cindy Wright, and I was not surprised, but in a way I was, when she said, oh, I'd love to do it. So she agreed to be my district conference chair. And the next thing I talked to her, she said, but I want Peggy to be my co-chair. And I said, that's fine, if you two can work together. Peggy has always been involved in the district conference as registrar. She knows what's involved in putting on a district conference. She's got great ideas and she really helps us avoid some of the pitfalls. Cindy, by contrast, is very well organized, a copious note taker. So if you say something in a meeting, there's a good chance that it's going to be in the minutes and you're going to have to follow through on anything that you agreed to do. She had a great team working with her. Aisha Bray, member of Fairbanks Club. Carrie Santero, who was a new member of Fairbanks Sunriser, took on all the sponsorships. Oops, saying I'm muted. Did somebody mute me?
No, you're all right. You're right.
Okay. Althea St. Martin helped any way that we needed her. Bill Wright, of course, Cindy probably said, Bill, come to the meeting, they've got food. And Bill showed up and then found himself listening in on the meetings and even offering some of his ideas and his time. So I want to thank Bill for that. And Karen Parr showed up at a number of our meetings, and she was working on a project to bring a Maasai warrior to Fairbanks, coinciding with our conference. And so she contributed a lot there, and she's got some good ideas. We had such a great committee and had high hopes for our peace conference and the conference. And when we canceled it, I met with Cindy and I said, what do you think? And she had talked with the Westmark Hotel, and they said, we will let you back out of the contract and we won't expect you to pay for anything. And I was just thrilled. I said, that kind of makes the decision real easy. And about 3 days later is when I got COVID-19. And so I'm really, really happy that Cindy did not get my coronavirus. Okay, so thank you for our district conference committee for your time. And I know that next time it comes to Fairbanks, we'll have a great opportunity to show what we can do. Next one. So we've got so many other committees. Excess Reserves Committee, Mike Pollan for the second year has led that committee. He's taken what I started with that committee and he's made it better. He's got a great team of people that review proposals, that he sends out a request for proposals. They evaluate the proposals and they make recommendations to the Finance Committee. Mike makes that job look so easy, but I think that he's just really shown what he's capable of doing. And he could serve in any committee and do just such an excellent job like that. So Mike, you're an invaluable asset to the district. Patty Merritt and I have known each other for years, but not particularly well. And when I started talking with her about the Peace Scholar Committee, she readily agreed to be my chair. I said, I'll find you some people to be on the committee. And they have set the bar really high. And they had actually 2 applicants for the Peace Fellowship this year. And they're getting ready to do the interview of the one that's applied for the master's program. Patty's shown a lot of leadership, and I'm just so impressed with her style and how she can say sometimes what's difficult things, but she says it in a very frank manner. And I think she's got some really, really good ideas. So Patty, you're a champion as far as I'm concerned, and you've done a great job this year. Jody Stewart has led our District Leadership Academy. She's completing her, I think, 3rd year. And this is the last year of the Leadership Academy. And just a few slides down, I'm going to have her introduce the graduates of the Leadership Academy. Jody, I want to thank you for your time with the Leadership Academy and also for having served in the past as District Secretary. I don't know if Dave Kester is on, but Dave is retiring, and he's done 2 things for the district. He's been our insurance and risk management guy for the district, but he's also been the chair of our Polio Plus committee. Dave's just a really genuinely nice guy, very capable. When I needed something from him from an insurance point of view, he can break it down into plain English. He was heavily involved in our review of our cybersecurity audit this year. And if Dave were on the meeting, I would tell him that he's been a real asset to the district this year. So thank you, David. Awards Committee, I've been able to work with Lisa here in the past 2 weeks for our awards meeting. And she developed our certificates and cheerfully ordered our plaques. And so I just want to thank Lisa for everything that she's done. And she's been working really close with Rosie. So I just want to mention Rotary Cares for Kids. Stacy Stegar has done such an excellent job working with the team of people, not just in Anchorage, but in Mat-Su and with some of the contacts across the district. And even though this was a project that started about 3 years ago under District Governor Harry, she's been integral to the success of this program. And I wanted to make it a special point of thanking her for how much time that she's given to this. I don't have all of the members of her committee, so I apologize for that. But Stacy, if you could thank them for us, I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay.
Hey, Andre, this is Harry.
Yes.
Thank you for those good words. Stacy's done an amazing job for 3 years. I would point out, though, she's a member of the Palmer Club, and they do so much for the whole program.
Thank you for letting me know that correction. Harry is with the Anchorage Club. That's what I was thinking when I put that there, I'm sure. Okay, next one. So I mentioned our public image resource leaders. Of course, Rosie stepped in as chair. Catherine Beers was the president of 58 Innovators this year, but we asked her for assistance 2 or 3 times this year to help us because she's got such a creative graphics mind. And so we hope she'll continue on serving as a resource leader for helping clubs in the Southeast area. Nikki Engstrom from Kenai, graphic artists like Riley Rudd, both of them weren't able to participate in our training, but I know that they're very interested in supporting the district. Penny Palmquist from Anchorage attended our training, and I know that she's very interested in this area. And I also want to recognize Wayne Clark, who's been a longtime champion of public image, and as a printer, he's been a valuable resource to clubs in the Fairbanks area and even statewide for that matter. Okay, next slide. So membership resource leaders, we had, I mentioned Lindsay and Mike. The three other members that we have as resource leaders are Bernie Griffard in Homer Kachemak. And Bernie was unable to give a lot of time this year because his wife was very, very sick with Lou Gehrig's disease. And she passed here within the last 2 months. And I know that Bernie's had a very tough year, but Bernie is a real champion for just about everything that he does for Rotary. He's enthusiastic. He's got great ideas, a tremendous amount of leadership that he's shown with our emergency crisis planning. And so just a real valuable member. Kip Harmon and the Fairbanks Sunrisers Club has brought in more members for my club over the past 3 years than anybody else in the club. And I asked if he would serve in that role. And then Jack Tim agreed to do it if his wife would do it with him. And as it turned out, we didn't get to the point where we did training for our resource leaders because of the COVID in March. The plan was to do it around the time frame of our February leadership meeting, and we ended up waiting until after spring break, and that seemed to be a mistake looking back. But next year, I think that they'll be agreed to take on that role still. Next slide. So I did mention Brad as our foundation committee. I wanted to recognize Alex Slivka has been our grants committee chair for 3 years. When he switched jobs, his time that he was able to give to grants really became a little bit of a problem. So we asked Mike Ferris this year if he would be a co-chair with the grants committee with Alex. And of course, then Mike ended up getting chosen as DGND. So he won't continue, that I'm aware of, with grants in the coming year. However, Brad Gamble has agreed to take on grants, and Diana is going to be taking over the foundation committee. The district grant chair is Janet Brown, and she is in her 2nd year. She took over for Vivian Findley. And I think that Janet will also serve as the local Fairbanks resource leader for grants. George Elgie has served, I believe, since 2013 as our global grants chair. Global grants can be complicated, and global grants sometimes can be a lot of time for nothing because they don't end up getting approved. George, I think, understands where it breaks down. I think he's got great ideas. And so he will continue to be a great resource for mentoring whoever takes over for Brad in that global grants position. I mentioned Dave Kester already. I just want to mention that Kevin Feynman and the Anchorage International Club has been our stewardship chair for the foundation committee. Oh, and I didn't mention Paul Pasley is going to be the Anchorage resource leader for grants. Oops, can you go back? Or, yeah. And Dave Whartonby from Soldotna, I think expressed interest in learning more about grants, and I asked would he be interested in serving as a resource leader for grants. I don't know that he's been able to go to the training. Chuck Foster's been a longtime grants champion as an instructor for the Leadership Academy, and he's from the Eagle River Club, and Chuck had agreed with Brad to take on that position. And in Southeast, Mary Kowalczyk has kind of fulfilled that role, although I don't know to what extent in the Juneau area. Okay, next one. Okay, so I mentioned the Peace Fellowship Committee and the good work of Patty and her committee. Lois Craig from Whitehorse is an E-Club member, and she's continued on that. She's got a real passion for this. And Allison, who went out on a ambassadorial scholarship, is a different name for it right now. I'm drawing a blank. Brad, what's the name of it? Brad's still there? Okay. Lori Draper has a real interest in peace issues, and she is in the Seward Club. And Shay Brenneman, who is a Peace Fellow herself from 2018, is working in Fairbanks, and she served on the committee. So that's our Peace Fellowship Committee, and thank you. Patty says this was a dream committee, and I agree. So I want to just acknowledge Jody Stewart as having been the dean for our District Leadership Academy. And these are our instructors. You can see that Jody taught the dynamic leadership and Rotary resources. Ariel Talon Keller served teaching growing vibrant clubs. And of course, the E-Club is vibrant. Rosie on telling Rotary story and public image. Michelle Strickler on new generations. Alana has done organization and administration. And Chuck has done our foundation and community impact. So thank you to all of our instructors for the Leadership Academy. And Jody, I hope you're still on. I'm going to let you do your little ceremony next with the next slide.
I am, and thank you, Andre, for this moment to recognize our graduates this year. Our graduates, you have come through so much. So drum roll does not do us justice. So congratulations to the graduates of 2019, 2020. That would be Robin Lockwood, Lori Evans, Lori Draper, and Liz Balstead. The four of you, through perseverance, extra time, getting through COVID, through all the craziness, we have some incredibly great people to end our Leadership Academy as we know it. But although the Leadership Academy is ending, as we know, in a weird way, we are moving on with education in a way for our district that is exciting, and we will continue to have wonderful people that continue on. And I am just so grateful to have had that opportunity to teach you guys, work with you, and I look forward to the great things you do for Rotary.
Thank you, Jody. And congratulations to our four graduates of the District Leadership Academy. Big commitment, and we're proud of you. Okay, one more slide there, Rosie. So what's taking the place of the District Leadership Academy is the Education and Training Initiative. And Gail Nepper and Diane Fegis were the co-chairs of the committee. And Kim Erickson, Brenda Hewitt, Patty Merritt, and Jody Stewart and I were also members of the committee. And we've made a lot of progress. This new Education and Training Initiative will have it as its foundation, the Rotary Learning Center. And we're going to be rolling out some information about this initiative and the different levels that people can step in. And it's going to start with the club president-elects learning a little bit about the Learning Center and how to use it. And then we're going to be sending out information to our members, inviting them to explore some of the classes and try to get a training program that's put together where anybody can do it on their own. It tracks their progress. We think we're going to have better educated and informed members, and we're going to be able to train in multiple ways those that are interested in advanced training and leadership for roles beyond the club and the district. So congratulations on this committee for doing their work. I'll be chairing that committee with Joe Kukley next year. Okay, next one. So our youth programs, I asked Katie Johnson to be our New Generations chair, and then she proceeded to get a job that took her down to the Kenai Peninsula for several months, and so really never got to spend much time with Katie getting that role started. I do want to recognize the great work that Chaz St. George is doing with youth protection. And I wanted to acknowledge our youth exchange executives. Jeff Johnson is our chair and Cheryl Keepers is our deputy chair. And then Interact is Michelle Strickler from Juneau Glacier Valley. And then Ryla Marcus Mueller had given, I believe it's 5 years with Ryla. Brenda this year, Sheldon was his co-chair, and she'll be taking over Ryla next year. Next slide, please. So as you can see, in addition to Jeff and Cheryl, I just want to give a big shout out to Tanya Gamble for the great work that she does as treasurer for Rotary Youth Exchange. she's been able to sort out the finances in a way that we all understand them. Some of you may not know, but we have made a decision as District 5010 to put the youth exchange program on hiatus for a year during 2020-21. So in the fall, the youth exchange committee will be working on recruitment and doing some planning for the following year. And probably I can have Cheryl Keepers add to that. I also want to recognize Jamie Letterman as our inbound coordinator, Debbie as our outbound coordinator, and Shannon Haugland as our rebound coordinator. Thank you for your work for Rotary. And then we have a whole cast of support for volunteers and our area coordinators from Melody, Debenham, in the northern area, Denise Kipke in Anchorage, Jackie Marvel and Matt Sue Boyd Walker in the Peninsula, and Chris Letterman in the Juneau area. And we have 3 country coordinators, and I know that I had their names, but I couldn't find where I wrote them down. And Dave Berg, of course, is our Southeast area coordinator, and the admin secretary, Lisa Hyde. So thank you for all of the time that you give to Youth Exchange. So Cheryl Keepers, are you still on? And if you are, is there anything you would like to add to the decision?
I am still on. I am still on, and what I would like to say is, even though we will not have inbounds or outbounds this coming year, the program is not on hiatus because it's a 3-year cycle and we need to keep it moving. So we'll be working with our rebound students that are still coming home, and we'll be working to recruit for the following year. So we'll stay in touch.
Thank you for clarifying. That was a bad choice of words on my part. And you're absolutely correct that things are going to continue to move forward. And I think that when we resume it in the future, it's going to be stronger than it currently is. So thank you for all of your effort. Okay, next. So Ryla, Brenda Sheldon, I mentioned as co-chair. Peggy Paulin has been the treasurer, and she would be happy to pass that off if someone has an interest in taking on the treasurer role for Ryla. And then Beth Trowbridge put on a very successful Ryla in Homer this year with the help of the Homer Kachemak Bay Club. So I wanted to give a big shout out for the effort that they made. Thank you. So Interact, we have 5 Interact clubs in the district, and they're at West and East Anchorage High School, Colony High School, Thunder Mountain, and Ketchikan. And I had a couple of, there's another slide here. So last week I was able to present the Presidential Citation Award that was earned by Thunder Mountain Interact Club for achieving all of the requirements for the Presidential Citation. So congratulations to their club and their sponsor, Dan Dawson, and their club, Glacier Valley Rotary. Ketchikan High School, the K-High Rotary Interact Club, also has completed the requirements for their presidential citation. And I believe that Rosie is receiving the citation and is going to be able to provide it. And I just wanted to recognize Emma Campbell, who's on tonight, who's the president, or has been the president of the club. She's been a member the whole time she's been at Ketchikan High School. And I have chosen to give her a Paul Harris as a champion for the work that she's done with the Interact Club over the past several years. And so this is a picture of the over 100 members of the Ketchikan Interact Club. And Thunder Mountain is another very strong club. And I think that there's potential there with the support that they have, just like at Ketchikan High School from the sponsor and the club. That's a winning combination. And I hope that more clubs will consider starting an Interact Club community-based. Thank you. So, Rosie, did we ask Emma if she wanted to say a couple words? I can't recall. Emma, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Would you like to say anything before I move on? I just wanted to congratulate you on the Paul Harris that we'll be sending to you. And if there's something you'd like to say briefly about the work of your club this year, why don't you take a minute or two?
Yeah, well, thank you, Andre. Thank you so much for recognizing our club. It's been a great 3 years in the leadership role for the Interact Club here. Sad I'm going to be moving on to my next chapter, but I'm going to Linfield College in McMinnville, Oregon, and I was looking online, and it seems that there's 2 Rotary clubs in McMinnville that are pretty close to my school that I can hopefully go attend and get support to start a Rotaract club. That'd be amazing. Cade McAllister, he's a really good friend of mine. He's going to be president next year. And we are really excited to continue to grow our club, or they're excited to grow their club, and continue the work that we've done all throughout the years. It's been great. We have a strong line of succession, so we hope to keep our Interact Club thriving for years to come. It's a strong force at K-High, like I said, over 100 members. So we hope to grow that and continue having our members be active and break records and volunteer and raise money and have fun.
Well, thank you so much, Emma, and congratulations on your work and your selection to attend Linfield this next year. Okay, Rosie, next slide. So is Jess Gutweiler on?
I am.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the hero clubs? Because I got an email this week and I saw these, it looks like 11 clubs that were recognized for the money they raised. So could you speak really briefly about that?
Sure. So a hero club is somebody who commits to giving Rotary for 3 years in a row. And these clubs listed are clubs that have already given for 2020, the 2019-2020 year. What we hope is that they'll give at that same level, if not higher, for the following year and the year after that, knowing that leadership changes often in Rotary, that we hope it's something that they just put into their budget. So as you have on the slide, these are our clubs that hit the bronze level for District 5010 for this year.
What can you tell us about the progress on the Iditarod Challenge that happened this year?
Well, that was a really fun event, and it was my first time participating since I've recently become the ambassador for Shelterbox for District 5010. And we raised $4,700 with the Iditarod Challenge with the Youth Exchange. And we slept out in the tent out at Kim and Triggs. And it was a great experience, and unfortunately really the kind of last hoorah for the students before COVID hit. So that was a pretty influential in terms of for the district. For what Nancy put together, we had first place go to the Fairbanks Sunrisers Club. They were the first club to commit to being part of that. And then second place went to the E Club, and third place went to Seward. And they should be all receiving their awards from Nancy Dodge as she returns to Alaska in the next several months.
Thank you, Jess, for that report. And when I come through Anchorage, I was thinking about bringing my new chocolate lab puppy to meet your bacon seat.
Oh, perfect. Because I was going to make you kiss her in a fundraiser.
Uh-huh. Okay, next slide. What's this all about, Rosie?
Well, I thought I'd throw this in since we work so hard on this. We do have a district app, and that's off my iPhone, and you can do it on an Android. But the part I really super like, there's a couple parts on this, and it's also an award-winning app in Rotary. But you can see the mountains behind. I took that when we were at Brad Gamble's party up there in Talkeetna. And then we worked with the company with 14 Oranges, and we put all these different things on. But I don't know how many clubs have this, but I think there's quite a few. But the calendar, this is a district calendar. All you have to do is click on where it says calendar, and it'll pop up anything that's on there, and you can do it for your club too. And you can get all the members and get the phone numbers, and there's resources and just all kinds of things that you can use this app for. I hope you guys will get it and use it. You can go to the App Store for the iPhone, and then the Android has their own App Store. You can go there, and it's...
So Rosie, that's the calendar view from Ketchikan First City, correct?
No, that's yours.
Oh, okay. When you see the banner with Ketchikan First City, if you just drag up, that disappears, and so all the 12 buttons are the district buttons, and the one that says the name of the club is the club one. And to answer your question, we've got, I think it's 21 clubs that purchased the app this year, and we're going to be doing some enhanced training for the club admins in the coming year. I'm going to stay on, as is Rosie, to take on more training in the app so that more clubs fully utilize it. So thank you for mentioning that. And yes, we were very proud to get an award at our zone meeting. What's left? You want to speak to this?
Sure. Okay, so Zone 24 West, which Alaska belongs to, our district, we're going to become Zone 28. And I just really, really want to give a shout out to Michelle O'Brien, because she's our RPIC, the Rotary Public Image Coordinator. And I'm her assistant. And we just do amazing things for a lot of different districts. So I've learned a lot from Michelle. She's a master at all of this. And I'm just really happy to be able to work with her. And we're really proud to represent from our district.
I'd like to just add that both Rosie and Michelle probably get very little recognition from our district for the fact that they not only serve our district, but they also serve other districts in our zone. And I'm so proud that we have two of the best in public image right here in our own district, and that they're always willing to train people, share their ideas. And I think we need to take more advantage of this tremendous resource that we have in our district.
Well, thank you very much. I know Michelle's on here, so she's getting to hear this too.
Michelle, would you like to say anything?
No, this is great, Andre. This is a fabulous presentation, and it's just very humbling to be able to serve. Everyone, don't forget, I've got some money that I have to spend before the end of the year, but it can be executed next year, so please send me your grants.
Okay, so I'm going to let Rosie speak about the Fun and Games Committee, because she was inside view of that. I asked her, would she work with this group of 5 people to put together a fun event for the district? And I think it was a smashing success. So Rosie, what would you like to say about it?
Well, I just like to say that our fun team is the most awesome team ever. And I can't give it enough kudos to the people there, because everybody did a big job. Catherine Beers made this wonderful visual, and Jess and Nicole and Joe and Brian Shimmick helped so much. But we played a game of Jeopardy for the evening, and it was great. And we had to. Oops, sorry, Joe, I spelled your name wrong. But anyway, Joe, we had to cut Joe off because she's too quick and fast, and she knew all the answers. But man, Peggy Paulin, she just like ripped it out there. So anyway, Joe, you guys want to say anything? Kukli, you still here? Or Jess?
I'll jump in. Yeah, I think it was just a great way for us to think outside of the box, to connect everyone, even though we weren't able to do this at district conference face-to-face. It was a great way to connect from the comfort of our own homes and abiding by what we need to for COVID, and just a great way to learn more about Rotary and more about our fellow Rotarians in District 5010.
So Jess did a survey. Do you want to talk about that with the PDGs?
Sure. So I reached out to all past, present, and future district governors on 3 things. I wanted a nickname, and I wanted something unique about them, and then their theme. And most replied back. I actually was really surprised with the response rate that I received, and we were able to coordinate that into a trivia question that we went on, that Nicole beautifully executed through a Jeopardy and then a different game. But we had a great time and learned more about each other.
Well, thank you all who served on that committee. It was a lot of fun, and you know, like who let the dogs out? I let the fun committee go, and they just really went over the top. And the only question I have is, why did my hands look so skinny in that picture?
Oh, talk to Catherine.
Okay, I think we're almost out of slides, aren't we?
We're getting there.
Okay, what's next? Well, yeah, it has been a pleasure to serve as district governor this past year. I just, 3 years ago, Sherry and I made a decision that if we were going to do this, we wanted to do it when we were young enough that we still had time to do things together afterward. So I'm looking forward to some downtime, but I'm not going to be completely disappearing. And I don't think I could have done this whole job without the support of my wife. I wish she could be here tonight, but she'd be in my Jeep for an hour with the puppy. And we do have a 9-week-old chocolate lab that's going to occupy much of our time, and I've been sleep deprived for 2 weeks. And, what a great experience this has been. And I've already noticed that the number of emails that I'm receiving is like dropping to a trickle, which is fine with me. I do want to say that I want to thank all the Rotarians in the district for their generosity. We raised $25,000 in a span of about 4 weeks, and the $25,000 was matched by the Rasmussen Foundation. I had a nice conversation this morning with Nina Kemple from the Alaska Community Foundation, and I have a survey going out tomorrow to all of the club presidents, inviting them to give us input of how they would like to see us use the money to support COVID-related activities. And we list some activities that we're asking them to prioritize or rank. And based on that information, then I have a small advisory committee that will help me finalize the final decision of where this is going to go. But we've got every community in Alaska where there's a Rotary Club will benefit from these funds. And it comes out to approximately $1,300 per club. So for example, in Fairbanks, if we have 5 clubs, it's 5 times 1,300 will be the amount that will be distributed. Similarly, in Anchorage, if there's 8 clubs times 1,300, et cetera, et cetera. So there's enough there to do some good for everybody, and a lot of community foundation is going to help us with the publicity on this too. So I just want to thank everybody for their commitment. We've had to pivot a lot. Our club presidents have had to pivot a lot, and we've all worked hard to keep our members engaged. And I'm thinking that's like being a relay of passing, but Joe, and I'm hopeful that Joe is going to be able to continue with some of the success that we've had with the challenges this year. It seems like a lot of people are embracing Zoom, and clubs are even saying in some ways they like it better. I don't know what clubs are going to do, but I think that every club has to do what their membership feels is right for them. And I hope that we continue to grow and serve and make a positive difference in Alaska. So thank you for letting me be your district governor.
So Andre, I'm going to quit sharing the screen if anybody wants to say something to you.
I want to say something. I know what a tremendous amount of work that Andre has put in the year. The governor always puts in a huge amount of hours and dedication, but this year was particularly, shall we say stressful because of all the unexpected occurrences. And if nothing else, the number of hours that Andre has spent in his vehicle talking with all of us on Zoom, he needs to get a special award just for that fact alone. So thank you, Andre.
Thank you, Gail.
Yeah, Andre, this is Craig Forrest. I wanted to thank you too. I know things have been not exactly as you planned, and but you did rise to the challenge and kept us kind of herded in the right direction. Or at least I hope it was the right direction.
Thank you, Craig.
Yeah, this is Joe. I'm going to say that in particular, and I've already told this to Andre privately, particularly in the last 3 months with, things changing so quickly and having to change. I have been tremendously impressed by what you've turned around and done as things arose, especially given the fact that you were quite sick for a long time as well. I really was extremely impressed, Andre. And I do want to say that.
Thank you, Joe.
And Andre, this is one of your privilege to have served as an assistant governor during your watch. Mikey Bridges here. I want to say thank you for your steadfast leadership, your willingness to pivot when COVID hit, right on top of pets and everything there, and kind of took the wind out of some of the sails of some of the clubs, presidents-elect coming in and getting ready to transition into Joe. And then you got sick. The ship got hit a little bit, but we didn't steer off course. We kept the course steady. And I think as a district, and of Rotarians, we're going to come out of this whole thing stronger because we've been able to adapt with you at the helm. So well done, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Andre, it's Janine. I just want to tell you, it's been a joy working with you. You've been a wonderful leader and a real pleasure to work with and a friend, and I appreciate that. So thank you so much for everything you did.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you for what you do as well.
Andre, it's Penny, and I want to thank you so much for a wonderful year, supporting all of us as we tried to help as best we could to keep that ship on course.
Thank you, Penny.
Hey, Andre, Lindsay, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with you. And I echo what everyone else says. This is unusual. I feel it's unfair that you got gypped out of your district conference in Fairbanks. But you've just done an excellent job of reinventing Rotary. And I appreciate it. Plus, you make Rotary fun.
Thank you, Lindsay. That means a lot. And next year, you'll get to see my beach body.
Sounds good.
Andre, I'm looking forward to having you come over on a Sunday just so we can get together and have fun.
Yeah, we may have smoke some meat and bring a puppy.
Works for me. I'm sure my cat would love to play with your puppy.
I would say, Andre, that lots of people are commenting on how well you did with the COVID and pivoting and making the change. And certainly I would agree with that. But I would say from the very beginning with your planning and the number of people you selected for the different jobs and how diverse you were and how careful you were to get regional support and leadership and representation. I just think that all of that set your year in place so that when the COVID hit in the last quarter, you already had such a strong foundation because you gave wonderful leadership and thoughtful organization from the very beginning.
Well, thank you. That's years of working in a middle school where the principal is the office of brevity, variety, and fragmentation.
Andre, this is Lori, and I wanted to say the same thing everybody else is saying, but I wanted to add, thank you for making peace a priority. I really think that your leadership helped us to move forward further than we have in a while. And I really enjoyed serving on that dream committee with Patty and the rest. It's been very fun, and we're so excited that we have a candidate, and just wanted to put that out there.
Well, thank you. And I hope we can continue some of that effort.
I really appreciated coming to your weekly meetings with your various fabulous speakers. And it was really fun to have, there was like this core group of people that always came, but there were a lot of other people that came in. Your speakers were incredible. Most of them were based on peace, but that was just super innovative. And that's really what I've loved working with you about, is that you can just change and switch and make things work. It's just really fun. So thank you.
Thank you, Rosie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rosie, have you got the controls for the Zoom?
Yes.
I don't know that everybody knows this, but I've been getting Zoomed and WebExed into infinity for the last 3 months between different organizations. I did learn one administrative thing. When people want to do an applause during one of these kind of digital meetings, you don't actually all start clapping your hands for real. You do this.
Yeah.
And that signifying applause. I would like to ask everybody to join me in a round of applause, standing ovation for our outgoing district governor, André.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, guys. I do this with my puppy.
There you go.
Well, you guys have all been great leaders. Amazing.
Hey, Andre.
Yes.
This is Bill. Bill and Cindy, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing Daisy by yesterday. It was nice to see her. But it occurred to me that, I know you had your gap between Timmy and Daisy, but I think we were your pets during that time. You gave us all the tender, loving care that you're going to Daisy. So that was very special, and we feel like we were a part of your life.
Thank you, Bill. That means a lot. It was fun bringing Daisy by to see you. Well, I don't know about anybody else, but I'd like to go get dinner.
Me too.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great summer, and I'll see you, I'm sure, at some point over the next few months. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, team.
Bye, y'all.
Hi, guys.
Bye.
Hey, great
Bye,
job,
everybody.
Rosie.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Rosie, great job.
Thank you
this was
so
great,
much.
Rosie.
You guys, you're the rock stars.
See you soon.
Stay
Yeah.
safe, everyone. God bless.
Okay, maybe we'll just have another Zoom just for fun down the
Oh,
line.
what the heck? Why not?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye to
guys.
Doug.
Yeah, he's right here.